Hi, I'm Astrologer Penny Dix. Welcome to this month's astrological overview for the month of April 2024. And guess what? Yes, it's April the 1st. Yes, it's April Fool's Day. But what I'm about to say is no joke, because yes, today our planet of communication, our planet of deep thought, our planet of papers and documents and emails and internet, Mercury goes retrograde. Yes, it's a retrograde 1st of April till the 25th. So what does this all mean? Well, first of all, interestingly, of course, normally this is a live stream. But of course, I have been or will have been in hospital having my back surgery. And I will most likely be watching this with you as a preview. And we can then join in the chat together, because I thought that's the best way to actually put this out as a premiere, so that then I can join in the chat from home, because hopefully I will be home from hospital. So Mercury's retrograde. Let's think about this. Planet of communication. We know what happens. Things go wrong. Technology fails us. But I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but technology in general has actually been a little bit tricky all through March and even through parts of February. And you'll have noticed with some of the live streams I've done that things have gone wrong, like the internet has just gone down. And, suddenly I find I'm talking to empty space. And at the moment, of course, when I'm pre-recording this, I'm talking to empty space, which, do you know, it really has a very different energy. I have to really kind of tune myself into the frequency of the future, of imagining and really feeling your presence, so that I can connect Mercury with my thinking and my thoughts and my speech, Mercury, with you. Also, it's interesting that Mercury is retrograde, because it gives us a chance to rethink, redo, relook, review. And I wonder whether, when this video goes out as a premiere, and I can join you in the online live chat, whether Mercury will already have been causing us some difficulties in communication. Because this is the kind of classic energy we can expect with Mercury retrograde. But I think it's really important not to fear Mercury retrograde, because it can actually be incredibly helpful to us. I mean, for me, if I bring it down to me, it's going to give me a chance to review, reflect, rethink, sit quietly with my thoughts as I recover and get back into where I go from here, how things will proceed forward. So there's something that can also be then very helpful about a Mercury retrograde. You think if you've lost some files on your computer, or you just cannot find them or just locate them, maybe this Mercury retrograde actually helps you recover what is lost. Sometimes it helps us recover thoughts that we are having. And sometimes it helps us tune in to the frequency that we have perhaps gone a little bit too fast and ahead of ourselves with, with whatever it is we are planning, and it gives us an opportunity to slow down. But Aries, of course, is rather an active sign for Mercury to be slowing down in. And Aries is very much about action, energy, assertion. It's ruled by Mars. Mars is the masculine. Mars is about, let's go out there and do it. Let's go and win that game, fight that, war, win the war. So I think on a general sort of level, we're going to see on the world stage, on the planet, perhaps people retreating a little bit to their particular kind of corners to review and re-look at how they proceed forward, because perhaps as they went through the rest of March, and of course, I don't know, because I'm recording this on the 16th of March. So I have no idea what may have unfolded, even though I'm an astrologer. Astrology isn't about necessarily knowing exactly what happens every minute of every day, because what it does is it gives us the energies of the moment. And of course, it's up to the individual and the individuals concerned as to how they take that energy forward, what frequency they decide to tune into, to listen to. And we do have a word of the month, and you might have guessed what it is. It's frequency. But I'm going to talk about that at the end. I want to get through the information of the most important astrological energies that you need to be aware of to navigate the month of April. So we've got a Mercury retrograde. It turns retrograde at 27 degrees and it stays fully in Aries. Mercury might find us in Aries reflecting on where we've had harsh words, because Aries can get ahead of itself. We may have said things to friends, to colleagues, to loved ones that we regret. We may have been reacting instead of slowing down, thinking and responding. So maybe this Mercury retrograde will actually give us the opportunity to slow down, reflect, go back, repair damage that may have been done to important friendships or relationships. That could be one way of looking at it. Perhaps on the world stage, we will see world leaders looking at where they can repair their actions, where they can make reparation, where they can actually review what they may have been initiating, because Aries is very much about initiation. And remember, the sun is now in Aries, so we are at the beginning of the zodiac cycle again. And we had the spring equinox on the 20th, 21st of March, when the sun moved into Aries. So the energy has kind of been ramped up. There was a full moon penumbral Libra eclipse in Libra on March the 25th. And that video, if you've not already seen it, is up on my channel. It may be worth going back and re-listening or watching it to see what I said about what's to come, because that could give us a little bit of an indication as to how this Mercury retrograde might be playing out. So with all the energies I'm going to talk about for the month of April, bear in mind that the one aspect that is concurrent through every single aspect I mention. Mercury is retrograde, asking us not to take or make knee-jerk decisions, knee-jerk actions. I think that's the most important thing with Mercury. And yes, of course, we may see, what's just come into my mind is because it's Aries, and Aries is about attacking in its sort of shadow side. We might see cyber attacks. We may see deliberate attempts by, let's just say, foreign powers to slow things down, to take us out of the information feed, to bring down or put a stop to temporarily, albeit, certain social media platforms. I mean, we've seen it happen a little bit already, even when I'm recording this on the 16th of March. So that may be something that is around. So let's just, as I say, bear in mind that Mercury is retrograde for most of this month. Now, on April the 8th, we have a long awaited for and much talked about new moon total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. And this is at 19 degrees and 23 minutes. And it's at 18:20 or 6:20 in the evening, universal time. So I will have done a separate video, which will be up on my YouTube channel before this video goes live. So some of you will have already seen my new moon total solar eclipse video. And this new moon is interesting because the actual path, the trajectory of the sun's, or rather the eclipse's movement across the planet is over most of North America. Now, this is significant because where eclipses fall in terms of their location, where they move across on the planet, means that the area of land that is directly beneath the totality of the solar eclipse, they feel the astrological energies most keenly. This falls across North America, and I believe it hits an exact point over Texas. So also this new moon is conjunct the North Node and Chiron. It's also conjunct Eris and retrograde Mercury in Aries. So let's just think about this. It's an eclipse. Eclipses are traditionally about potentially dramatic change, but it's a new moon. So that doesn't necessarily mean a bad ending. It can mean a positive ending. It's in Aries. This is the first sign of the zodiac. I tend to feel that that is positive. So whatever perhaps gets overshadowed and hidden from our sight with this solar eclipse has the benefit or the outcome of making things right in some way. So let's just think about the energy a bit. It's conjunct the North Node. This is our collective destiny, our kind of karmic destiny, but this is more specifically for the North of America, so the United States of America. It's also conjunct Chiron. Chiron, remember, is part of the group of space objects called the Centaurs. Chiron is that hidden trauma that we all carry. You think about a moon that gets hidden. This is a solar eclipse. This is the light gets taken out. This is about a wound that needs to heal. Maybe this is about a collective healing that needs or needed or has needed to take place in North America that is long overdue. The fact that Aries, our goddess of strife, discord, fighting, rebellion, is also in the mix, and retrograde Mercury, our planet of communication. You know, in America, I think with this new moon, you're all being given an opportunity to re-look at how you can repair the damage that potentially has unfolded for you over the last few months, few years, how you can take that in a completely different direction. So I think this is a really powerful and positive new moon total solar eclipse. It'll be visible. So for those of you watching this before the 8th, and if you're in North America, try and go somewhere where you can see it. And remember, as we always have to say, you have to protect your eyes with the proper glasses that you'll be able to buy everywhere on every street corner to look at the eclipse. Now, Mars, our planet of action and energy that rules Aries, is conjunct Saturn, our planet of limitation and boundaries, in Pisces. Pisces, our sign, our last sign of the zodiac, our sign of, let's just look at it in this sense, intuition, psychic ability. Mars, that wants to really kind of say it how it is and lay down the law. And Saturn is saying, no, I'm going to hold you back, not just yet. And maybe there's something about this Mercury retrograde energy that is saying, whatever it is that is coming to light when the sun comes out again after the shadow moves. So think about these words, that we have to wait metaphorically for something to move out of the way of the sun. Who or what is the sun? You know, in the court of Louis XIV of France, Louis XIV was called the Sun King. They saw him as a shining light, a star. Who? Let's bring it down to a mundane level because you can all work it out on a world stage. Who needs in your own life to be reminded that they're mortal, that they're human? So is there something about this Mars-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, about someone's narcissism getting in the way of progress and process and growth? Is it yours? Because this is also, remember, with Mercury retrograde, about reflection. So I just throw these things out for you to think about. And you may find, because I'm actually recording this before I've recorded the 8th of April's new moon total solar eclipse in Aries, so I may have expanded on these ideas in that video, changed some of the ideas or restructured them. Saturn in Pisces, restructuring that Mars activity and energy. We've also got Jupiter in Taurus, trining Ceres in Capricorn. And this trine from Jupiter, remember, we always like to think of Jupiter as being positive, optimistic, full of luck, full of opportunity, expansion, lucky things coming to us. But remember, every light has dark. Every light can be switched out. Remember, this is a solar eclipse. Jupiter has its dark side too. I'll come to Ceres in Capricorn in a minute. But Jupiter, remember, also has a negative side because it can expand what we don't want expanded. So just bear that in mind. And Jupiter can also take away what you think is yours, but perhaps you have been trying to acquire it by subversive means, in the way of greed. Now, Ceres in Capricorn, Ceres looks like a scythe, the symbol for it. So it's a bit like cutting something out. It's harvesting, it's reaping what we sow. So even though it's a trine, it's like, be careful with this new moon total solar eclipse that you don't get ahead of yourself. There is a warning within all of this. The Mars conjunct Saturn, the Mercury retrograde, the Jupiter trining Ceres. Trines can also mean this way, that way, who cares, it'll all be okay. Will it? Sometimes a square is better. A square makes us work for what we deserve. Venus, our planet of love and relationship and self-worth, is conjunct Hygeia in Aries. Venus, about self-worth, is also saying conjunct Hygeia. This is about healing. There is something through the self-reflection and honesty that Venus can bring conjunct a dwarf planet like Hygeia that brings healing, because Hygeia is about medicine. It's about healing. And Pluto, our planet of transformation, whom we haven't mentioned yet, Pluto in Aquarius, the planet that's going to turn the whole planet upside down over the next 20 years, is sextiling Venus in Aries. Well, sextiles again are gentle energies. Venus, as we know, is love, relationship, self-worth, and finance, of course. It's also about that. But this again is a sextile, and Aries is about marching towards one's goal, taking up one's sword and fighting for our beliefs. There are such conflicts in the astrological energies of this new moon total solar eclipse, which I've no doubt I will have gone into in a far deeper way in my video, which will be up on YouTube before you see this particular video. So that's one of the major eclipses of the year, and I think it will have a profound effect historically, not just on North America, but on the decisions that America makes later on in the year, and how that will affect the rest of the planet. What goes on in Europe, in Russia, in China, Iran, let alone the Middle East. So I've mentioned Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces. That's absolutely conjunct on the 10th. You might find, I think that day you have to be really seriously careful, depending where this falls in your chart. Don't be over ambitious. Don't think, I can jump that stepping stone. Let's use that as a metaphor. Or I can reach for that. Or I can climb this mountain or this rock face. Or I can jump over this stream or this small little, whatever it is, gully. Because you might be misjudging your abilities. So April the 10th, and with that April the 8th new moon, don't misjudge or overstretch yourself physically, because Saturn will slow you down. Saturn will go, no, I'm slowing you down. And Saturn might just cause you, if you are a little bit ahead of yourself, something that causes you, whether you like it or not, to be still for a little while. Let's move on to the 15th of April, because Mercury retrograde, our planet of communication, will be conjunct Chiron in Aries on that day. So, conjunct Chiron, Mercury is giving you a chance to relook at injuries, wounds, things you have said to others, including yourself, that are hurtful or harmful, that are unkind, that are cruel. Aries can be a bit blunt. And so Mercury is really giving you this opportunity to go and seek out that person that you've had words with. Or even if it's yourself, to just look at how you can forgive yourself a bit, heal your inner wound, talk to a trusted friend about maybe what you feel that you've done to yourself that is not so kind. We can all say things in a moment, and once words are said, they come out and we can't take them back. And if another has heard them, we can go into terrible guilt about it. And I think this is about not punishing ourselves, just saying, I have a shadow. It's good that I know what my shadow is. It's good that I am aware what my shadow does, says, comes out as, because beware, said Carl Jung, the person that doesn't know their shadow, I'm not quoting him because I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the words of, or to the extent of, if you don't know your own shadow, beware, because it will trip you up. And that's that Mars conjunct Saturn on the 10th. And this is with words, Mercury retrograde conjunct Chiron. This is, don't trip yourself up with words and say things that you live to regret. Find a way to repair. If you've fallen out with a friend, get in touch with them, sit down, say, I'm so sorry, I really was really out of order on that day. And I'm not going to make excuses for myself. I was wrong. I said some very hurtful things, or whatever it is that you need to say. And you know, you will both feel so much better because the other person will feel heard and will feel able to forgive. And you know what? You'll also be able to forgive yourself and not carry around that wound. By the 19th of April, Mercury conjuncts Venus. So retrograde Mercury conjuncts Venus in Aries. And this is a gentle, kind energy because this is almost like the reparation that you were looking for earlier in the month. I think this is a day where you will feel a little bit better about yourself. I think you'll be able to sit back and think, oh dear, I do say some silly things sometimes. I'm so fortunate and so lucky I have such good friends. Friends that forgive me for the things I say that are really out of order. So there's something about that with that energy. And this could also be repairing something with a loved one in a love relationship where things have become a little bit estranged. There's an old-fashioned word, estranged and distant, so that you can both actually repair the relationship. So Mercury retrograde is good. And, you know, of course, it'll go back over that point later on when it moves back through its shadow, when it goes forward again, when it goes direct on the 25th. And I haven't got those dates written down, but by then you'll be in such a different place with that friendship or relationship. Now, next we come to what is probably one of the most important aspects of the year. It probably is the most important aspect of the year, next to or maybe equal to Pluto's move into Aquarius. And this is the conjunction we get in Taurus between Jupiter, our planet of luck and opportunity and expansion, and our lovely, electric, sparky, amazingly rebellious planet, Uranus. Two of the biggest of my outer boys. They come together. Someone was asking me the other day, what does a conjunction mean? It means they're not literally touching, but by aspect, by degree. So if we're tracing them on a chart based on our location from planet Earth, so it's how we visually see them in the sky, it looks as though they are together in the part of the sky that is Taurus. Although, if you look at this through your Sky at Night app, they will actually show up. I think it's either the sign before or the sign after. It's either in Aries or it's in Gemini, because it's all to do with it's the difference, in fact, between, I believe, Vedic astrology and traditional Western astrology, because Western astrology uses the Earth as our viewpoint. And so this is what we see in the constellations. But it's different if you're viewing it from a different perspective. That's the easiest I can do. I will do a video at some time about the difference, I think, between traditional astrology and Vedic astrology. I'm always coming up with all these ideas. I really must follow through with them. Anyway, Jupiter and Uranus are conjunct on April the 20th, 21st. Again, separate video will be up this month, all about this amazing conjunction. Or is it? Is it positive or is it negative? Well, let's just have a think about this. And I am going to do, as I say, an in-depth video about this. So I'm only going to touch on the headlines. First of all, Jupiter-Uranus, this could be quite explosive. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which is an fixed earth sign. We can literally get earth movement like earthquakes, volcanic activity. And this could be any time through the month of April, because this energy will already be building from March and then onwards a little bit into May. So just be aware that is the way it's going to kind of move. Now, the other thing that we need to be mindful of is Jupiter and Uranus conjunct in Taurus. Taurus is about economy and finance and money and value. So we could see dramatic changes in the money markets, in the stock markets. Things could crash, things could go through the roof. So there's something unpredictable about it, and it will very much be determined by what's happening on the planet around that time. And if we come to matters of what's happening on the planet, then also we've got the same problem, that there could be things happening worldwide in terms of the political balance of power in places like Russia, the Middle East, Iran, China, America, that will affect how this particular conjunction plays out. So that's just for you to be aware about. The aspects that we have with this conjunction: Jupiter and Uranus will be sextile Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces. This is a little bit tricky because Pisces has no boundaries, and Mars is kind of, Mars is trying to swim. Mars and the fire and the water creates hot steam. This is like a hot springing from the ground. This is hot energy. This is water. This is heat. This is Jupiter. This is Uranus. This is something boiling in the sea. This could be an underground volcanic eruption. There we go. That creates a new island. We get that every now and then. I think something like that happened not that long ago in the area around Japan. So there could be things like that happening. What is it on a kind of personal, more mundane level? Well, it all depends where it falls in your chart. And remember, the video I will have done about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I will have gone through each of your individual zodiac signs, and it's the rising sign that will tell you the part of your life that is being most affected by this energy. When I do this as a separate video, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I will have a chart for the moment. So we will look at where it falls at the exact moment. So the Sun in Taurus is also squaring on that day Pluto in Aquarius. So we've got our star, our sun. Sometimes I think we forget that thing we take for granted, that shining thing that we like to sit in and get warm and suntanned and get all hot and then complain it's too hot, is a star. Do you know, sometimes we don't let that dawn on us. Our sun is a star, and we happen to call it the sun, but it's a star. And we are part of what, I just find all this astronomy extraordinarily exciting. We are part of what is known as a binary system. We have two stars that kind of rotate around each other. One is called the Sun. The other star is called Sirius. And you know that later in the year, we reach that point where Sirius comes into view again, and we see it on the horizon. So, you know, there's something I think to be said for understanding the astronomy of our solar system. We take it so much for granted, but to understand that our sun is a star that is basically burning itself out, and that one day will become, well, it'll get sucked into a black hole and become part of a black hole. It's just extraordinary. We'll have all gone by then. We'll be long, long gone. Every remnant of anything that exists in us will have gone, or will it? Because, of course, what we're forgetting is that we are energy, and energy cannot die. It just changes form. And that'll bring me in neatly soon to talking about the word of the month, frequency. But before I get to that point, I want to talk about the April the 23rd full moon in Scorpio, because this full moon is squaring Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So it's also, Pluto in Aquarius will be squaring the Sun. So we're going to have this kind of T-square between Pluto and the Sun and the Moon. So April the 23rd, which comes just after the 20th, where we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. More in-depth video, as you know, will be on my channel. And this April the 23rd full moon Scorpio, what do you need to let go of that you've still not recognized needs to have closure? You are being kind of asked to let go. And Jupiter and Uranus are separating from their conjunction. And Jupiter in Taurus is making a grand Earth trine between Ceres in Capricorn and Lilith in Virgo. Grand Earth trine with a water full moon. This I'm going to do a separate video about, and I'm hopefully going to get it done before I go into hospital. Because this could be quite an interesting full moon coming after the Jupiter-Uranus and the other energies of April. So a grand Earth trine between Jupiter, the planet that expands, Ceres, that reaps the harvest, reaps the reward, in an Earth sign, Capricorn, structure, cardinal, Lilith in Virgo. Lilith, our demon wife of Adam. So there's something here about digging deep into your psyche and soul. And this can be really good for personal psychological development. That is how I'm seeing this full moon in Scorpio, which is on April the 23rd, but I will do a video about it. And there's quite a lot of energies going on in that one. But I want to get to our word of the month, because just to remind you that the only other aspect of any importance, not the only other aspect, but an aspect that we need to remind ourselves of is that on April the 25th, Mercury, our planet of communication, will go direct in Aries at 15 degrees. So, our word of the month, frequency. Why did I choose frequency? Frequency you will have heard me use before, because frequency is like recognizing that our psyche and soul, and we somehow sometimes feel that our mind is where it all comes from, these frequencies. And in a sense, this is where we send out our thought frequencies. Why did I choose this as the word of the month? I chose it as the word of the month because I think we constantly need to be reminded that we need to be on the right frequency of what we want to attract into our lives. Because, and I'm going to quote Tesla, and a lot of you will have heard this quote before, but Tesla said, if we need to attract something into our lives, we have to match its frequency. Now remember, this is why our thoughts are so important. Florence Scovel Shinn talks about, who wrote The Game of Life and How to Play It. Our thoughts are a conversation with the universe. Be careful what you think, because with every thought that you have, you are creating the reality of what you are going to experience in the next few moments, the next hour, the next day, the next week. So we have to constantly we have to constantly be mindful in the present of keeping our frequency in positive energies of harmony, love. We have to be staying away from negative frequencies, but recognizing that we do have this duality in us. If you remember, I was saying earlier in the video about when we say things that aren't very kind or nice and we really live to regret them, we have to acknowledge that we have a shadow. And Jung, as I'm repeating now, said, if we don't acknowledge our shadow, we don't acknowledge it to our own cost. We will pay dearly for not acknowledging that we have a shadow. So we cannot expect ourselves to stay in a constant happy state of positivity. We can aspire to it. We can work with training ourselves to stay in a state of attracting positive events to us, but attracting events that enable us to grow. Because what we have to do is allow the divine to have the flexibility to deliver to us what we would like to manifest, what matches the frequency of what we need to have to grow. Because if we don't match the frequency of what we need to have to grow, it'll take us on a downward spiral, which is not where we need to be. I hope I'm making sense with this, because it's about recognizing that everything we think has an energy. If we get up in the morning and automatically are able to stay in a positive state of mind, there may be things that come along that are not so good. We may even meet people that are attempting to bring us down to their glass half empty level. It doesn't mean we have to join them there. I used a word recently on a word of the week, which was about being the observer. We have to observe and let it go. So frequency is about aspiring to the frequency of a frequency of energy that is helpful, healing, and on a level that is full of love and kindness. If we can send out, the power of frequency and intention is huge. And if we send out love and intention collectively at the same time to heal, say, just one person, I guarantee that person will be uplifted. They will feel the love. They will feel the intention. They will feel their frequency lift. So be mindful of, just check through this month. Where are my frequencies? Are they on lower energies, or are they on medium energies, or are they on the higher frequencies that stay with the more positive? If they're on a lower energy, just observe it and go, okay, that's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up about it, because often we're so unkind to ourselves. Oh, what's the matter with me? I just can't get this right. I try to be on the right frequency. I'm trying to be on a frequency of love. Don't try. Just observe that sometimes you find it difficult. Forgive yourself and say, at least I'm aware of it. And the more aware you become that you have been a glass half empty person, it'll make it easier to change and shift your frequency to a glass half full person. Or at least that's how I feel. You may think differently, you may feel differently, but constantly check through the days this month of, where is my frequency? Is my frequency on a frequency of love? Or is it in a frequency of fear? Because they're two sides of the same coin. We can flip that all the time. We can flip from fear to love, and we can easily be tripped back by falling into fear. We have to stay in a frequency, a vibration of love, because if we stay in that frequency, and enough of us do it all the time, we can shift the energies on this planet and create, with the tipping point of what is happening on planet Earth now, we can create the tipping point that tips this into the whole planet into a positive. This is the perfect month to have the month of frequency as our word. Sorry, the word of frequency as our word of the month, because this is the month with the energies we've got where we can really observe our frequency and how we shift and move with the energy, how we can constantly work on, I choose to be on a positive frequency, a positive level of communicating, to go into this discussion, this meeting, this, I love what Pam Gregory says, and some other people say, where they say, we have to say before we have any action, please make this for the highest good of myself and the highest good of others. So maybe you should also make that your phrase. It is by no means an exclusive club phrase. And I know Pam Gregory would be the first to say that. She will want everyone on the planet to be saying, please make every action I do today for the highest good of myself and the highest good of others. And maybe that's what we need to say every day this month. Well, actually not every day this month, but every day for the rest of our lives. Today, let everything I do be for the highest good of myself and the highest good of others. And on that note, no more wittering from me. I'm going to bring this video preview, what do we call it? Premiere to a close. And hopefully I will have been communicating with you in the live chat. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Please remember to continue to like and subscribe. And I really look forward to seeing you on a live stream very soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.